Good morning. I am General James Baker, and I'm originally from Ohio. That's where I was born. But I came to Minnesota in 1857, actually, and I settled in Garden City. And I had a farm there, and I was very happy. But wouldn't you know it, politics caught up with me. I had actually been the Secretary of State in Ohio, and so in the new state of Minnesota, which was created in 1858, when they needed a Secretary of State, I was called upon, and like George Washington, I left my home behind, left my family, and went to serve my state. In 1861, the Civil War began, and I resigned the position of Secretary of State and was appointed Colonel, actually, of the 10th Minnesota. Now, the 10th Minnesota has the distinction, I guess you could say, of being one of the 4 regiments that was present when the 38th Dakota were hanged in Mankato. And of course, Mankato not being far from Garden City, it was next to being my hometown, and eventually it would become my hometown. But because I was familiar with Mankato and I was Colonel of the 10th Minnesota, I was actually on guard, on duty, when this execution took place on December 26, 1862. Now, shortly thereafter, I was appointed by General Sibley. General Grant comes later. But I was appointed by General Sibley to help with the mop-up expedition in the West. In October of 1871, this is following the war, I went on to become Surveyor General of Minnesota. Grant had made me Provost Marshal of the Department of Missouri. I served a number of unique and important positions, but one of the things that I'm the most proud of is the fact that in 1879 I actually took 2 foundling newspapers that were doing okay, but they certainly weren't your New York Times. But I took the Mankato Daily Review and the Mankato Record, and I merged them into something that I thought we could be proud of, and you know it today as the Mankato Free Press. So I'm actually the founder of the Free Press. Now in 1880, I built a beautiful home in Lincoln Park, just a few blocks from the site, or what would become the site, of the Boy in Blue Memorial. That was built in 1893 with the help of the Grand Army of the Republic, Alexander Wilkenpost, which I'm proud to be a member of, along with a number of my other comrades who serve for Minnesota, and the Women's Relief Corps. Together we built this wonderful monument. But I also had a house in that neighborhood. I moved from Garden City in 1880 to Mankato and made that my permanent home, and I would live there until my death in 1913. Now, as far as family, I actually had 2 wives, but let me explain that carefully. In 1871, I married my first wife, and she bore me 2 sons, Arthur and Harry. That was Rose Thurston. And I lived with her in Garden City, and then we moved ultimately. I went to war. She didn't move, but I went to war. But she died in 1873, and then in 1879, the same year that I founded the Free Press, I actually married Zula Bartlett, who, by the way, one of her ancestors was actually a signer of the Declaration of Independence. So it has a real. Could say freedom has a nice ring to it, as they would say. Now I have a friend, Captain Clark Keyser, who we like to exchange pleasantries, I suppose you could say, or good-natured insults. He's a captain, I'm a general, so I get to talk down to him a little. But at any rate, we would go around to different schools in the community and actually present information about our experiences during the Civil War, and of course, being the politician, statesman, orator that I was, all of my various experiences came in handy telling these young people what life was like and how they should aspire to do as well in school as they can. Well, one of these young ladies at the Pleasant Grove School, which is very near my home in Lincoln Park, was a young woman by the name of Maud Hart. Perhaps some of you have heard of her. I have great faith that someday this young woman will actually become a writer, because she's always writing, she's always taking notes, she's doing all sorts of things. But that in a nutshell is my career, and I hope you enjoy your stay and your visit to Mankato. Good day.